So I realize that my daughter and I see this differently. I see it according to function, that this is something that goes in my printer, so that when I want to print something, it prints onto this. But this is rarely in my printer because my daughter sees it completely different. Where I see it by function, she sees it through the lens of possibility. When she looks at it, she sees a unicorn, a day at the beach, or our family. She looks at this and she sees what it could be. So here's Jesus, carpenter turned itinerant preacher. No home, no job, no title, no corner office. And he spent the whole day teaching crowds and healing people in the hot, dry, dusty Judean desert. Now it's the end of the day. And he's walking along with his closest followers, the 12. They're tired, they're hot, they stink. And Jesus knows that the crowds have been whispering and talking and guessing at who he is. So he asks the 12, he says, "Who did the crowd say I am?" And they just start throwing things out. They're like, some say that you're John the Baptist, and some say that you were Elijah or one of the prophets. And then Jesus just stops and he smiles. And the disciples, the 12, they stop and they look at him and just wonder where he's going next. And Jesus looks at him and he says, "But who do you say I am?" And so Peter, the friend who's always the first one to open their mouth and the first one to put their foot in their mouth, Peter speaks up and he's like, "You're the Messiah, the Son of the living God, the anointed one, the chosen one, the king that we've been waiting for, that we've been looking for, that we've been expecting would come and bring restoration and peace. You're the one we expected," which is funny because nothing about Jesus was what anyone had expected. People were expecting the Messiah to come and be a powerful political and military ruler. Someone who was going to come and force and power and overthrow the Roman oppression to restore Israel's national identity. Nobody was expecting a teenage unmarried mom. Nobody was expecting born in a stable. Nobody was expecting a homeless friend of sinners and tax collectors and prostitutes. Nobody was expecting love your enemy and turn the other cheek. And nobody expected what Jesus was going to say next. Jesus looked at Peter and he smiled and he said, You're right. I am the Messiah. I am the Son of the living God. And upon this rock, upon that truth, upon who I am, the one who's come to bring restoration, I am going to build and they all expected him to say, my militia, my army. I'm going to build my political base. I'm going to build this revolution. But instead, Jesus said, I'm going to build the Greek word he uses is the word ʻklēzēə. It means a called out assembly, a group of people, a community. Jesus said, I've come to bring restoration. And the thing that I'm going to build is a community. And the way that word gets translated in most of our Bibles is with the word church, which carries so much baggage with it. When we hear church, we think of a place, we think of a system, we think of a corporate entity, and maybe some of us think of hurts or scars. I mean, there's so much baggage that comes with this word church. But that day and that moment, all Jesus was saying was, I'm going to build a community. It was ambiguous. It was vague. It was before the church got hijacked by an empire, before it became complicit in oppression, before it got taken over to advance political gain. It was a moment when the church was a blank canvas full of possibility. And Jesus intended to paint something beautiful, something amazing, something that would be unstoppable, something that he intended to change the world. Jesus said, I'm going to build my church. I'm going to paint a community. And the gates of Hades will not stand against it. I'm going to build a community. Nothing is going to stop me.